So, Andy, Sweeny talked about the potential of extending Lindor. What have you found out in your reporting as far as potential timing and cost of that?
Well, a lot of what we heard yesterday publicly from Sandy Alderson really holds true, in that the Mets didn't make this trade with the assumption that there would be an extension. They made this trade because they were comfortable giving up what they gave up for 1 year of Lindor and 2 years plus an option of Carrasco. Now, obviously, having said that, they want to extend Lindor. Now you just have to go through that process of seeing if you can find some common ground. This is a player who is well within his rights to ask for $300 million. Manny Machado has a $300 million contract, and he's a third baseman. Lindor is a premier shortstop. Their offensive numbers in many ways are comparable. Depending on the category, it kind of goes back and forth. Obviously, Machado, a little bit more power. You could certainly argue that Lindor is the more desirable all-around player than Machado.
Sweeny, I know you've done a lot of research already on this trade. What were your impressions of the players the Mets are getting in Lindor and Carrasco?
It doesn't take a lot of research to figure out that the Mets have gotten one of the, I don't know what, 5 or 6 or 7 most exciting players in the game right now. And when you go with the assumption that this player will be signed, because that's why you make a deal like this, right? If this player is going to be signed, you've got a guy who's going to be the face of this team for the rest of this decade. This is the guy who the rest of the team, the rest of the Mets world is going to revolve around Francisco Lindor for the next at least 6, 7, 8 years, depending on how long he stays in his prime.
Rec, I think until the Mets made this trade, it was a big three in the National League. It was certainly the Braves, the Dodgers, and now the Padres. And I think you add the Mets to that list now. In terms of their lineup, though, specifically, where does that stack up in the National League?
Yeah, they certainly deserve to sit at the table with those teams now. And with the lineup in particular, look, this team had a really good year last year offensively. If you look at this, I thought this was a funny statistic, because as I'm looking through this, sure enough, 4 of the top 5 teams in all of baseball last year in weighted on base average, which takes into consideration the ballparks that you play in. Look, those 4 teams that you just mentioned are right there, 1, 2, 3, and 5. And you're talking about, look, this doesn't mean that they're the best offenses necessarily, but when you talk about these are the best teams, when you look at their lineups, they have some of the best hitters. These are the best lineups in the National League. Where does it put them? I think they're still going to stay in that area. They're going to be lumped in with those 4. I wouldn't say that they're above the Dodgers quite yet. The Braves, this definitely helps them make up a little bit of ground on them.